So I'm just trying to get the password. Here it says choose the key pair file. I think we downloaded the PEM file, which I showed you before. So I'm just copying that and then pasting it here, dragging and dropping it. Oops, sorry. Copy this. Oh, sorry, I think the screen gone. Yeah, sorry. I'm now clicking connect again. I downloaded it already, so okay. So I need this password. So yeah, so this password is important for me to connect. So that's the reason I'm going to this screen. So here I need to select this key pair. I'm just selecting the PM file which got downloaded. So it basically copied the content as it is from the decrypt password. So if you look at now, this is my password to connect to this VM. Okay, so I'm entering that here. Okay. Now, basically, I'm connecting to that virtual machine, Windows virtual machine created in cloud.
Since it's a Windows machine, we are using our DB way. If it is a Linux way, then you just go for the telnet SSH thing. Similar approach.
Yeah. So yeah, so it is now creating your Windows computer on cloud, installing all the personal settings and the Windows server. Yeah, that's all. So this is now you have a Windows machine on cloud. So this is your local, and this is your Windows machine on cloud. So yeah, just like how you see a C drive, yeah, you can see your drive as well here.
Ganesh, here you see C drive only.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, my confusion was when we started off, we said we'll create a Windows 10. Adding storage means I would add a D drive.
That's right.
So, for example, if you see, we selected 30 GB, right, in the storage option. So it created 29.9 GB. So almost 30 GB space it got created. And by default, your Windows operating systems itself occupies 17 GB. So generally, yeah, Windows takes more space because of the softwares and other things. Yeah, but yeah, generally for your quick development, I think Linux is more. It comes with less resources, so better to go for development. Generally, it's good to go for Linux and most used operating system as well in AWS. And if you see here in this, it is also giving you all the details about your VM. So what is the host name of the VM, instance ID, public IP, private IP, and what is the instance size, and which availability zone it is, and what is the architecture and memory. These are all the inputs that we selected. So some of them. So that's how you get a Windows machine. Okay.
Just a question here, Shyam. Just a quick question. In case, coming back to the continuity of Ganesh's point, if I want to have a D drive, should I do it here inside after coming into this console, or can I do it outside from AWS console itself while defining the machine itself?
So while creating the machine itself, you need to do. I mean, you don't have any control on this. So while creating a VM itself, you need to do. So it's typical operating system concept. I mean, while you partitioning, you can while you create an operating system, you give the partition requirement, like how many partitions you need. So similarly, you will do it before.
Oh, okay.
Narana is giving that another EBS 8 GB, that will create as a D drive for you.
Yeah, exactly. So if you remember this when you selected the storage option, right? 30 GB is something which came under root, where you
Correct.
saw only 2 SSD options.
Right.
But you can add additional volumes, so that will create more drives for you.
Oh, okay. So when I connect it
Yeah.
using this RDB, I will be able to see 2 or how many partitions I have defined there. Okay, thanks.
Exactly. Yeah. So the root was mentioned, right? So the root is always the C drive in Windows case.
Right.
But always only you can create only up to 30 GB. After that, you have to merge to get more space.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that is not free.
Yeah, I mean everything. It comes with a configuration. I mean it all comes with a cost. So
Right.
yeah.
30 GB. We are able to use that. More than 30 GB means it is payable.
Oh,
Yeah.
but initially you said for 1 year it is free. What is that free then? If this is being charged, what is that?
No, no. The charge is basically. So I will show you this. The free tier will have limits.
Okay.
AWS free tier limits. So you just Google it. So you'll have so very few things are under that free category. So like I would say, out of all the products, you get at least 60% of the products only you can use.
Okay.
And also, for example, see, only 750 hours per month you can use for EC2. Okay.
Right.
So, and also for storage, you get only 5 GB space in S3. S3 is another product which I have explained storage. So it has a limitation. Free tier has a limitation.
Here I can add that means if you're running one, I also did the mistake actually. I understood this one as Amazon EC2 750, so I keep running it for 2 to 3 days. But anyhow, EBS is pay more than if you run, no, then you have to pay for that. So instead of giving money for EC2, you have to pay for the EBS. So better terminate this instance.
Yeah. So it is a combination. For example, whatever you're using is we create a EC2. Okay, this is cost for EC2, but we also selected a storage, right? So storage also will come with a cost. So the combination of these two will reduce your usage, your free time. So very shortly. So yeah, so correct. So basically now basically I created it. Now the good practice is once I am done with my usage, better is to terminate it.
Okay. Getting it.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, other important aspects in this we need to remember are of course you get the Windows, you can get the password of your Windows instance and likewise. So launch more like this, and also create a template for an instance. So these are all two categories which you need for automation purposes. For example, what we clicked is we did a lot of mouse clicks to create this VM. But let's say imagine a scenario where for a project purposes you need to create hundreds of VMs like this. Manually doing a click for all these 200 machines, for example, is not an easy job, right? So you can automate this. So you can create a template which will automatically create like a script for you. And then I'm not going to the details, but I think you can create a template which will create a automatic scripting for you. So where you can store that scripting and use it for your learning purposes. I mean, in your automation purposes, you can. It will create. I think it's something else. It's called cloud formation, which I will take it on some other day. It's another product from Amazon. Where if you want to do any automation. Then you can create a cloud formation template from this instance, and yeah, you can use it for automation purposes. Generally, the CI/CD process, when they do so, they use this cloud formation templates, and then create 200 instances, for example. So yeah, so that it will avoid the manual clicks. So like this. So this is the first step. I mean, you need to know the console very well, but those are all some advanced concepts. I think we can do it later. So. And apart from that, yeah, if you look at here, this is where you see. So, like you can start, stop, terminate, all these things you can do. Yeah, so this is some important aspects we need to remember in this is termination protection. So, which is again common exam question. Termination protection is something you can select where let's say you don't want to terminate or terminate this by mistake. Okay, So, or for example, in generally companies, they'll use a common account, right? So like VM will be created by one person, but some other person also can see it, and let's say you can delete it by mistake. So just avoid that. You can create a terminate protection, which means that VM will not be deleted. So without approval. So such kind of feature also you can set. Uh, yeah, and you can see the system logs and screenshots and all these things you can take. These are all for debugging purposes. Then you can create an image out of this. Let's say you connected a VM. Now you install a lot of softwares in this. Okay. So now we want to take a backup or image of this so that you can use it for replicating the similar for other team members in a project. So in that case, you can create an image and you can ask your team to use that image while they create VM. So that way they don't need to reinstall the same things that you created, for example. So generally, it's very common in projects where you install 10 softwares in the system, and and let's say your team member also want to use the same mission like you. So then, good practice is to create an image. Once you do it manually, create an image and ask the team members to use the same image, so they can use the same image that you created. Okay, so and then networking, these are all. I think you can restrict or create a network and the sub network and all those things you can do. Change your IPs and other things. Then alarms. So monitoring. Another very common interview question: what is a monitoring tool that you use to generate or to check the status of your VM? So answer is CloudWatch. So CloudWatch is another product. In the monitoring that you see here, all the data that you see here, for example, what is CPU utilization of your Windows VM? So what is the discrete operations? So all these monitoring parameters you can see here. These are all coming from CloudWatch. CloudWatch is another product which will be by default integrated. So yeah.
Sham, one question. So you shared about this. Okay, the operating system is various vendors like Linux and so, but these monitoring tools and other networking tools, are they Amazon proprietary or is it like a
Amazon proprietary.
Proprietary. Nothing is like. So, for example, I'll give you like in other cloud things, right? There is this other tool for monitoring and other things, like it's called, what is that? Prometheus, right?
Yeah,
Prometheus. Prometheus is a very popular tool. It's a freeware, actually, right?
Yeah.
They integrate with that. So, do they provide that kind of Amazon?
Yeah, they have. I mean, while you create, we saw a lot of marketplace vendors also, right? While creating an AMI, if you remember. So all they have tie-ups with all the popular marketplace vendors. But if you have your own vendor, then you can bring that vendor also and have a partnership with AWS and get that integrated. But marketplace is meant for all the external people to participate. Maybe I'll show you this place. I mean, while we're creating a VM itself, we got an under AMA option, we saw marketplace, right?
So the question is, like in the test, right? Like they are worried about their own proprietary tools, or is it like general concepts that they are mostly worried about?
They're more. They will not ask about their partner details and all. That is out of scope for the exam. So it's only about their products, AWS products only. So
okay.
Marketplace products or any third-party products, so those are all not required to know.
Okay.
So this is what I was talking about. So AMIs, you can select. These are all my AMIs is all Amazon provided AMIs. But let's say if you are interested to go to some third-party products, so that's where AWS Marketplace will help you. This is primarily all the vendors like Barracuda, Juniper Networks, Trend Micro. These are various outside vendors. So they have a tie-up with AWS, and you can select from their products also, for example. So definitely the product that you're talking about also will be there under this category.
Okay. Yes.
But it won't be free tier eligible though. Yeah,
correct. So it won't be free tier. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, so that's about the AMIs. Sorry, that's about the VMs. I think very good practice is again stopping this VM, terminating this VM that we created. So if I come back here again, I can see the running instance here. Always ensure that all these are zeros, so that your billing is not metered. So come here. I'm not showing how to delete. So terminate. So either you can go from here, terminate. It will say yes, terminate. So it is basically takes 1 or 2 minutes to terminate. It says shutting down, right? So yeah. So that's how you terminate. So a VM. Yeah. So that's about. So now you understood, right? So I think if I go back to the slide, you'll understand the terminologies what are we discussed now. So you can better relate these terminologies now. So we saw instances which is a virtual machine. AMI is a pre-configured OS template where we saw various Linux and Windows options, right? Instance type, we saw this combination, T2 Micra. So that is what this instance type. Key pairs is nothing but the user ID password that we saw. We copied the PM file so that you could log into the Windows machine. Volumes we saw, storage. Again, regions we saw. I mean, the drop down in VPC, it was asking you to select a region, US East and all. So those are all. Those are all availability zones. But yeah, region is something in the top that we have. This is a region. For example, the US East. This is the US Asia Pacific. These are various regions where AWS is having data centers. You can select. So this basically this VM. You can select in which region you want to. The region that you select in what we selected is US East. So basically, where is this VM? If someone asks me, it is. I can say at a high level, like it is there in US in North Virginia data center, but I don't know anything more than that. So in US East one data center. So this is what I can say. Um, so yeah, apart from that, you can select based on geography. You can select Asia Pacific. We have Hong Kong, Mumbai. In India, it is Mumbai. So Mumbai, we have a data center, and Singapore. Right? I mean, generally, the good practices. I mean, the more products are available in US East, North Virginia. This is a very old data center. So yeah, when AWS started, this was created. So this is very popular. In fact, there are 6 availability zones under this region, US East. Yeah, and in Asia Pacific.
Price actually.
Sorry.
Oh, here then you will get less price actually.
Yeah. Correct.
But new function coming on in Virginia, that cloud watch and all you will get only in Virginia, but other than that you can't get it cloud watch anywhere.
Yes. Yeah.
But less price is Ohio. But I'm not sure. I did somewhere, but I'm not sure. But when I compare, I found so usually I take my instance in Ohio only.
Yeah, but generally the advantage is that the more all the products are not there in all the regions. That we should keep it in mind. And there are but generally US East is where you see all the products. Generally, AWS will deploy all the products. First they try it in US East and then they deploy in other regions. So US is like a testing ground even for AWS. So you see all the products available here. In the Asia Pacific, the next popular one is Singapore. So in this location also, you see all the products. So yeah, others in Frankfurt is most popular in Europe. Likewise, yeah, various locations. I don't know about others, but yeah, at least these 3 are more popular based on the geography that you're available. But yeah, generally it's good practice to use Mumbai because that's if you're really using AWS, then always prefer Mumbai because your latency will be less. Let's say your customers are.
For our you should not use Mumbai. Mumbai is so costly. You check the price tag, means Amazon price tag. Mumbai hosting is more actually.
Yeah. My point is not that. What I'm trying to convey is let's say your customers are, it depends on your customers. For example, if you're deploying it for as enterprise, if your customers are in your India-based startup, for example, so it's always good to select Mumbai as your region because your latency will be less from because all your customers are based out of India.
Agree.
But yeah, so that's what these regions are. So yeah, and we also saw this availability zones we saw. So this was that. The security groups we saw the ports, right? We enabled RDP port. So the elastic IP we saw. Then tags we saw. We gave name and then demo. So VPC we saw this where we created a networking and other things, and we saw various states pending running. So again we now if you look at our window, it is now terminated, right? So the status is earlier it was in green, started, so now it is terminated. So this is where the various states which I was talking about, running, stopping, stop, finally it will go to terminated. So and we also saw this volumes. So basically we selected the root volume, which is where we selected this 30 GB storage. Yeah, and we saw in the drop down, we saw these options: general purpose SSD, provision IOPS. And then also in the root, we see only these two. In others, we see in the extra volume, like D drive, for example, you see these options also. So your base root drive will be always SSD. So that is again a common exam question. So and we also saw the T2 Micra. This is what we used, T2 Micra, general purpose. So we selected general purpose. But yeah, if your VM is compute optimized, you can select any of these combinations. It's a big drop down we saw, right? So the instance types. Then pricing options. Yeah, this pricing options is something. This pricing options is we selected dedicated instance on demand. Sorry, we selected on demand, so not dedicated. On demand, we selected on demand. So it will have fixed rate per hour and like with no commitment. So this is what we selected. But if you look at, we have other options here. For example, reserved instances. Let's say if your capacity, you know the capacity in advance, so you can select a reserved instance. You can purchase reserved instances, and you can tell how many instances, how many purchases you want to do, so that you can select here. So similarly, spot instances are nothing but the spot instances is this. So you can, it is like bidding. So you need to whoever is having extra VM capacity, they will release it for public. So basically, you can request spot instance, and it is like bidding, right? So you need to select what is your requirement and what is your capacity. Generally, you get all these spot instances will not have very high capacity. To have generally have very small capacity. But yeah, the problem, the advantage with this spot instance is that it is price is very cheaper, but someone gives a better price than this, your machine is gone. So just keep that in mind. So generally for enterprise, spot is not an option. So yeah, dedicated host is something you get dedicated. So right, and then yeah, I think we saw this till here. I think this tenancy. I think we'll do a quick time check here. We have 8:15, right? So yeah, I mean, are you guys okay to continue for some more time, or you want to take a break? I mean, continue next week.
How long is pending?
I think it's all. It will take another 5 more slides, but it's all quick. 15 minutes is sufficient to complete.
Yeah, I think we are okay. Yeah, we can continue.
Yeah,
okay.
Good. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So these are all. So far, whatever we saw here, this is all the basic. Again, I just added these slides are kind of miscellaneous additional information. Again, very important from exam point of view. So these are all the tricky questions which I got failed answering in the exam questions. So I thought it would be good to collect them here. So these are all kind of additional information, but miscellaneous category. But important from exam point of view. So yeah, so EC2 tenancy. So this is something we need to generally we tend to ignore it, but this is but from exam point of view, this is an important question. So what is EC2 tenancy? Especially to tell you if the virtual machine that you're creating is it a shared host or not? So what else? By tenancy itself we can understand, right? It's a tenancy is a like the same hardware purchased by AWS, very big hardware, and you, me, everyone are using it, and we are called as tenants. So what AWS is doing is they're allocating under the big hardware, they're allocating chunks for you and making you and me as a tenant, and so basically we are sharing that bigger hardware. But if your requirement is that for whatever be the reason, like for compliance or security requirements, you can also select that I don't need a shared one, I need a dedicated one. You can select that. So which means it comes with a cost. But there are some enterprises, they want it for a reason, for security reasons and compliance reasons. So yeah, so that is what is the types that you need to know about from exam point of view. The question will be something like this. You need your VM should not be shared by others. So what options you have, or what the questions will be, what options you select between the four choices. So one of the options will be like EC2 tenancy, based on the requirement, either dedicated or multi-tenant types. So multi-tenant type is like it will be shared with others. Multi-tenant, by the name you can tell, it is shared by many people, like the sharing model. But whereas dedicated is like dedicated for you only. So that is the point. And under dedicated, again, we have two subcategories: dedicated instance and other one is dedicated host. The difference is the hardware, basically. Dedicated host is like you get literally a physical machine dedicated just for you. But dedicated instance is like this instance is, even though you shut down, you get the same instance again for you. I mean, even if you terminate and start it again, you get the same instance again. So that is the difference between dedicated instance and dedicated host. Yeah, just I added it for exam point of view, just to one point to remember. And other again miscellaneous category. So
where it is happening means where the option is there.
Sorry.
Where is that option is there? EC2 tenancy.
Okay. So good question. So yeah, under while you create a VM itself, you have an option. I'll show you quickly. If you go here, EC2, we generally selected all the defaults, right? Under the default, this is one of the default options. Let me just select whatever. Yeah. Yeah, tenancy. You see here. So you get a shared option, or here you can get a dedicated instance or dedicated host. So shared is what you saw, the third option, which is multi-tenant type, shared with others. Okay. But yeah, if you want a dedicated instance, you have, so this is option one, dedicated instance and dedicated host. But yeah, generally we give shared as a default. So generally, because that comes with the cost, right? So it says additional charges will apply for dedicated tenancy. Okay. Yeah, just we generally select next, and we'll tend to ignore, but it's an exam question. So just keep this in mind. Okay, so then next one is again exam point of view. I already explained this IPs. So the IPs is so generally we have three types of IPs. By default, as I showed, there's a private IP which is always created by AWS, which we don't have any control in selecting what IP name should be. So, but that's called private IP. So by the name you can say it is not reachable over internet. Okay, it's private, so you can't access it for public. It's not a public IP, so it is a private IP. So it can't access by internet, and generally used for communication between instances of same VPC. So again, this when I talk about the networking side, I can explain this, but just to summarize, what we created is if you take again this VPC, which is a network boundary, under that we selected availability zone, which is US East under Northern Virginia, US East Northern Virginia. So US West, for example, this diagram. Under that, you created a subnet under that network. So I think we didn't do all these things because we selected default. So which means AWS created all these things for you, and your VM is inside this box. Okay, the VM that you created is inside this box. So so what? Coming back to this question, so private IPs they will not have they will not have the VM is inside here, so they will not be accessible outside because they are not public IPs. So but they can talk to if you're creating another VM inside the same box. So these two are reachable or private IPs. You're getting it right. So basically, we create one VM, and let's say we create two VMs and two Windows VMs under the same subnet. Okay. The private IPs, the advantage is like it can talk internally because it's all internal. So internal boundary. So internal boundary is okay. When from one VM you can ping the other IP, you can reach it. But if it is but you can't access it over internet or from your laptop. You can't access this IP, which is private. So that's the difference. So generally, the point is private IPs are used for internal communication, but not for outside world. So that's what is private means. So the private IPs remains with EC2 instance when EC2 instance is stopped. So yeah, so this will be it will be restricted to VM and and when you stop the instance, it is gone. So public IPs it is reachable over internet, and the public IP may change when you stop the instance or restart the instance. So the problem is that if when every time you restart, you get a new public IP. That is a drawback, especially when you want to give this public IP for anyone else, any other customer or your friend. If you want to give this IP, if you restart it, that's gone. You'll not be able to access that IP again. So so that's where to address that issue. So that's where elastic IPs are handy for you. So here you can, it is reachable over IP, like public IP it is same. It is reachable over internet like public IP. But the main difference is like if you want, you can give a static IP, and this elastic IP is generally static or fixed basically. So this IPs will not change. Okay. But one caveat here that you need to remember is it is free. Like this fixed IP allocation is free from AWS, which is good. But on the other side, they will charge you if you're not using it. If you created a elastic IP but you are not assigned that elastic IP to a VM, basically you're blocking it, but you're not using it. So that is a category. So that category, then Amazon will start charging you money. So like 1 cent, like our dollar, not 0.1, which is like 1 cent they will per hour. So they will charge you for that elastic IP, which is unused. So that is something you need to keep in mind. And also you'll be charged if you ever remap an IP more than 100 times in a month. So if you keep on changing your IPs like 100 times in a month is allowed, but beyond that they will charge. So yeah, these two things you need to keep in mind. So basically elastic IP is totally free, but if you're not using it, they will charge. So meaning you create an elastic IP, but you're not reserving it for any VM, then it is charged. And maximum 100 times is what is allowed. So again, exam point of view, important aspect. These two are straightforward, private IP, public IP, you know. But elastic IP is something which is like static or fixed IP, and which is free, but it comes with some cost if you're not using it. So also over usage is also will have a charge. Yeah, I think again, exam question aspect. You have an option called in user data is something. There's a screen where let's say you have a requirement where let's say you want to run some commands when the VM is getting loaded. Okay, so for example, you want to install some softwares, preloaded softwares when the installation is VM is getting created. then it's come under the automation category. So you want to automate something. So then you can use this user data section where you can use some scripts. For example, this is just sample script which I copied. So, for example, it is going to a temp. It's a Linux machine. So I'm just telling put this temp directory. Curl is the Unix command which will download some Amazon software. SSM agent is one of the monitoring software from AWS. So I'm asking to install that software during the server startup. Okay. So SSM agent is very commonly used for monitoring. So again it's a software from AWS. So I'm asking to while installing the software, let's say I want to install this agent also on the machine. So then I can give that common instructions under this user data section. So it's nothing but a scripting language. So if you're telling a bash script, you're writing a bash and asking you to download some software. And then once you click launch, it will launch Windows operating system, and then it will also install the software also. Likewise, this comes under running commands category or automation category. So yeah, you can use this category. So what I'm doing is here under when you create a VM, here, yeah, this is where I'm talking about. Under this configure install details, under the advanced details section, you have an option to use this here. So, for example, I can copy this instruction. I can copy this instruction here and paste it. So it is nothing but I'm telling to install, download this. Curl is a command to download, and then I'm asking to install it once it is downloaded. Basically, I'm downloading this .rpm file, and then I'm asking to install it. For example. This is primarily a Linux command, so not a Windows command. Yeah. So likewise in Windows also you can do that. You can use a PowerShell script to execute your automation aspects here. So
yeah, usually this. So
yeah, that's about this section. Again, it's a miscellaneous category, but again, generally we tend to ignore it. We saw tenancy, we saw user data. For automation aspect, again, the question will be something like this in exam. If you have a automation, you want to install something pre-installed when you start a VM, then yeah, what options you have? Like user data is one option where you can give some commands to automate stuff.
Yeah, usually this option is used when you want to have the web server. Sometimes you want to have the web server ready as soon as your machine you launch, right? So you could have your HTTPD server ready so that you could make it as a web server kind of a thing. So instead of writing a later stage, usually what you do is you telnet or SSH RDP into the machine, then you put the software. But this is like while you create itself, since it's a simple things to do, you could just do it as a pre-step here, so that while the instance is provisioning, you get the software along with it, and you can test it. If it is HTTP server, you could say Ajay Roll's website, you could put it there, and as soon as the machine launches, you can see if the server is coming.
Yeah. So this is one step closer to a custom AIM image, right?
Yeah, correct. So yeah, generally, yeah, it is. You can install all the softwares you need well in advance, so you can tell it. So yeah, and then you can create an image out of it also. So yeah, which you can use it later. Okay, so again miscellaneous category, but yeah, exam point of important. So yeah,
Ansible. So usually the software Ansible is used for this kind of things, frankly, right? But this is a quick and dirty solution.
Yes. Yep. So there is again just coming to this similar category. There is one more product in AWS called Sessions Manager. Okay. So Systems Manager, not Sessions. Systems Manager. The Systems Manager also will help you for this category, where you want to connect your machine remotely, but you don't want to use, let's say, RDP. Let's say you want from AWS console itself, you want to connect. So this Sessions Manager is another software. Systems Manager. Session Manager is a subcomponent under Systems Manager. But yeah, session manager is what is this subcomponent is what you use. It is nothing but it's creating a session with your AWS instance. Let's say you can start a session, and you can so from here itself you can see. Okay, I terminated the instance, right? Okay, I'm not able to see. Sorry, we have to create a session. But yeah, I can see from here. Quickly and securely access your Windows and Linux instances. So again, exam point of view, another important tool. This will help you to quickly connect your Windows or Linux instances. Let's say you are not familiar with Linux, but you want to quickly connect from AWS console itself. Then you have this will help you to just to create a session. This is start a session. I don't have VM to show, but we just terminated it. But yeah, you can select a VM and then say start session. So that's all. It will connect to that session, and you can see the console here itself in the AWS rather than going from outside. Okay. So this one I highlight.
So one practical example is in some client places you don't have the telnet. In my case, they didn't have the telnet outside. And everything you have to download it only from their authorized pool of software only in the client place. Since due to the corona thing, we are using VDI, and VDI they have so many restrictions. So since the SSH software was not there able to connect, we use this session manager. Through this, we could able to connect to the machines.
Yeah. Yeah, you can basically nothing but instead of RDP or from outside, you're doing all the operations from the console itself. That is the beauty of the sessions manager. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, again, so since it is related, I thought I will explain that as well. Yeah, and this is again, I faced this question in at least a couple of interview questions, which I saw, so exam questions. Metadata. So basically, this the one beauty of AWS is that all the VMs that you created from the console, you can also access it via an API. You can consume it via an API. So one such API which is there for you is like let's say you want to see all the VMs that are all the VMs that are created. So, or if you want to know about the particular VM metadata information, then you can connect using this IP. For example, it is in so you can this is your IP address of your virtual machine, the public IP /latest /metadata. If you click that in your command prompt, I terminated it, so that's the reason I couldn't show it. But what I'm telling is, you can open this command prompt here, and you can do curl. Curl is nothing but you're hitting that IP of this, like your IP address of your virtual machine /latest /metadata. If I hit this enter, I mean this will not work now, but yeah, if I hit it, it will tell all the metadata details of your public IP. You can access it from your command line itself. Okay, and let's say if you're interested to know about particular metadata, so AMI ID is one particular metadata. So metadata /AMI-ID. If I give, it will give me output like this. Your AMI ID is this. Yeah, where this will be useful is without even connecting to my my VM, without even connecting to the cloud. If I want to get some additional information about the VM, it is all API driven, so you can access it for public IP. So you can access it from a command line itself, all the details without even connecting to the console. So that is the beauty of this metadata. Again, exam point of view, if there are any questions that comes under EC2 view using metadata, yes, but only dependency that we need is you need to know the public IP of the that's a prerequisite. Because without public IP, you can't connect to the VM. So I can't get the VM details. So you need to know the public IP. That's very important. But the rest of it all fixed. Like latest metadata /IAM, if you give a host name, so you get the host name. So like this, you can get all the metadata information about your VM from public IP. Yeah, this also we covered. I think EC2 monitoring, we saw on the monitoring tabs, we saw a lot of dashboards, right? So the CPU utilization, network in and out, packets in and out, disk threads in and out. This is all something you get by default or by default metrics. It's all from CloudWatch. But it doesn't provide all the metrics like RAM utilization or disk space utilization. So likewise, right, you need to create a custom metrics only then you get those details. Again, this from an interview aspect. Good to know that point of view. Yeah, I think the last one, I guess, yeah. Spot instances, yeah. Spot instances, we saw again, this is a category where it is like a stocks, right? Like again, the instance is available, you can buy it. Like if you get it best price, you get it. Otherwise, someone else is giving offering best price, they will get it. So that is spot instance. So for spot instance category, the spot instance terminated by EC2, then you will not be charged. For example, AWS itself is stopping your instance, then you will not be charged. But example, if you terminate an instance yourself, then you will be charged for an hour. So that is something we need to keep in mind. So spot instances will give you the 90% rebate. But the only thing is, if you are not using it, you bought it, but you are not using it, then you will be charged. Similar to the Elastic IP category. So if you are spot instance something that you want to use it right now, then go for spot instance. Otherwise, you don't go for spot instance. Because if you are not using it, then you will be charged.
Sure. So what is the... Okay, I understand if I need it immediately, I get it for... But Amazon can take it away anytime, right? Like somebody is asking for more, right? So then the work, whatever I have done is already lost, right? Is that saved or is it...
Yeah, what is the storage will be there, like that. The EBS is not gone. Okay, the storage is not gone. You can attach that storage to another VM also. So it's like external hard disk, right? So you can associate external hard disk to any laptop. So yeah. But yeah, so you're computing. Yeah, the use case is go ahead.
So I have configured a machine. So let's say one CPU, 1 GB, everything. I know this is what I need for now, right? And I'm doing some presentation. Okay, data storage is backed up. That's fine. But if Amazon is taking away, right? Like, so that would be a little dicey, actually, right? Like, so you were going to say about the use case. Yeah, go ahead. And I think maybe I'm
the right
getting
use
ahead
case,
of myself.
Yeah, the right use case is for the big data. Like if you are using a EMR kind of a thing, right? Then you can have your worker node. So the master node, you don't want to put that as the spot instance, but you can make the worker node as the spot instance, because the persistence is happening on the HDFS layer. You don't lose anything. It's like having one more arm of your compute, extra compute. If you want to use, that is where the perfect use case for the spot instance.
Okay.
Yes, the use case is basically even if the Amazon is taking away, you're not impacted, then that is a perfect use case. The scenario is what she is talking. Is a big data scenario where in a big data you have a lot of nodes. Even if one node goes down, still your workload is not impacted. So automatically the master will know and it will create one more arbitrary which is whatever it is there. So there's no impact in that use case. So that is where you use this spot.
So architecting with AWS needs to kind of keep in mind all these instances actually and the charges, right? So even though
that's why they pay as well, man. Come on.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you understand it, I mean, VM as a concept we know because we are there before cloud also it is there. So, but if you understand just creating a VM, right, you use a lot of technologies of cloud. So again, it's all, some of them are AWS specific, some of them are generic cloud technologies. So, but yeah, so this is something that we need to learn. But I think if you know one cloud, I think the concept will be similar in other clouds. So, but yeah, I think you should kind of adjust to this technologies. It will take some time. So yeah, I think that's all I have today. But I also wanted to cover VPC. I prepared that, but I think I will take it some other day.
Yeah, so next week, Shyam, yeah, next week you could actually extend this demo by basically. I feel that this is very good format, showing a demo and interview question, the questions. Okay, it's kind of really reinforcing. It's a very good way. Today, towards the end of it, we just since we shut down the machine, we didn't show the thing, right? So we could able to show the metadata. We could show while creating the instance, put some HTTPD thing so that you get the web server. You get a web page, static web page when you start your machine. So that, yeah, a couple of things we could do. Whatever you said, the last 4 slides, we could show it in the demo for reinforcing. Okay, so. I think what you are doing is perfect because whatever the corner, those questions, whatever you showed, those are all the areas where they drill you. Okay, so I think if we have this kind of a session, so start with this and we can go get into a little bit of networking, and I will try to add on top. So after 3 or 4 sessions, I can start show you guys the practical side of it, how they are using in real place kind of a thing. Okay, but first another 3 or 4 sessions, I think the way you are doing, continue this and provide more kind of a questions and the demo. So you answer your question through a demo. So don't delete the instance. Let's keep the instance. Let's plan the instance. While you create the instance itself, we'll put the bells and whistles and say why we are doing it, and we type back to the question towards the end of it.
Yeah. So I think that's about learning. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So that's all I have. So maybe tomorrow and then the following session, I think we'll cover some important aspect, which is VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. I think so far, if you remember this diagram, we covered PC2, which is the compute side of it. So I think we didn't see the auto scaling part. So I think that we will take it. It's kind of advanced stuff. That's the reason I didn't go there. But we saw basic Elastic Cloud Compute. We saw under compute. I think this networking area is what we should look next. It will start with VPC, and it comes with Internet Gateway, Elastic Load Balancer. Then for integration with on-premise environment, we need, on-premise to cloud kind of a requirement. Then we need tools like Direct Connector and VP, Virtual Private Gateway and Customer Gateway. So I think this all comes under the networking concept. So exam point of view, this is very, very, very important, and this is where we generally score less, or at least unless you know the concepts very well, it will be difficult to answer those questions. So tricky. I think we'll cover it in the next session.
Right.
Thanks, Shyam.
Any questions?
Yeah, let's meet next week around Saturday.
Saturday should be fine. Right. Same time.
Okay, sounds good. See you guys.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah, bye.
Very good, Shyam. Yeah.
Thanks.
Appreciate you.